Have you guys tried to make a resume before in Word? Yeah. It kind of sucks because you have to press tab. Like, you have to try to format it using like menu items, and it's really irritating because then whatever you do, it might like trail over to the next line, and then you have to like fix it by reformatting backspace a couple times or tab, or like you're trying to do bullet points, maybe bullet points are irritating.
Yeah,
So,
also like when you're applying for a position, you know that the employer is going to have a bunch of resumes to look at. So if everyone's using Word to make their resume, it's going to look a little standard. But if you use InDesign and make it look different, then when they flip through it, yours will be very obvious and it will stand out from the rest of the group.
okay, have any of you guys actually used InDesign? Are you like fluent with it already?
Proficient. Wouldn't say fluent.
Okay, well then this is probably just going to be a very basic review for you. Okay, so the first thing you do is like open up InDesign. It's the purple ID doc. And you're going to want to go to File, and then New, and then Document. On the handout it says Formatting. There's that picture. If you have InDesign and you just installed it, that pop-up is what you're going to get. And usually people check that box in the bottom corner that says Don't Show Again, and then you have to go to File. So you get this nice window here, and regularly for document preset, it shows default. You can change it to custom, which is custom, but if you change any of the values underneath, like you want 2 pages, and you want to start on page 2, it's just going to turn to custom. Change the number of columns. We're just going to go default for now. Pretty straightforward stuff. And here's what you get. Okay, so the first thing I like to do when I pull up InDesign is I'll go into Layout, and then I'll choose Create Guides. Because with InDesign, everything's basically about boxes and where you're putting your boxes of stuff. And with guides, it allows you to snap your boxes to whatever edge you want it to line up with so that everything looks neat and organized. So for this one, we're just showing features right now. So I'm just going to show like 2 rows.
And if you guys click preview, you can actually see like where the blue guidelines are. And with these, you can actually move it. So when you press OK, with your cursor, you can actually drag these guidelines to wherever you want them.
So I mean, we have like right here. You can drag. You can drag your guide to wherever you want. Pretty straightforward. Everything's just dragging around. Okay. So the next important thing is, well, pretty much the most important thing in InDesign is the toolbar on the left side. There's a bunch of icons here. We're not going to go through all of them today, but we're going to go through the important ones for actually making a resume. Major tool you're going to use is that black arrow on the top, which is just the select tool. This lets you click on stuff and move it around, resize if you want to. So there's a white arrow underneath also, but this is the direct selection tool, and it behaves a little bit differently. I'll show you right now after we talk about the different rectangle tools. There's 2 different rectangle tools here. One's the rectangle frame tool, and one's the rectangle tool. They're pretty much interchangeable. You can, for most basic purposes, you're not going to need to know the difference between them. I mean, so you click on the rectangle. We're using the frame rectangle tool right now, and you just drag out a box however big you want it. It doesn't even matter what size you choose right now because you can resize it later. So after I have this drawn out, I'm going to use the selection tool again, shrink it maybe, and I will drag it and have the left side snap against that grid line there. notice that the edges of the box are attracted to the grid lines, and it favors staying against that. So the nice thing about the frame rectangle tool is you can put a picture inside it. So you go to File.
Hello.
Is this the workshop?
Yeah, we're just getting started, but go ahead and sign in there, and you can grab a computer and follow along. We're not very far.
Then you get the handouts and get a pizza if you want.
And if you go to File, Place, I already downloaded a picture to put in on the desktop. And now there's a puppy inside. So here's where the white arrow comes in handy. The white arrow essentially lets you deal with the stuff that's inside the box. So I'm going to resize this picture just so it's bigger than the box.
And if you want to resize it so that like the proportions are all the same, so it's not stretched out vertically or horizontally, when you're stretching it out, just press Shift, and it keeps the original proportions. Otherwise, you can stretch it out super vertically or super horizontally.
So with the white arrow, it lets you move the image around inside the box without actually moving the box itself. So I mean, if you have a really big picture, this isn't the case, this is a tiny puppy. If you have a really big picture, you only want a section of it to show, and you don't want to have to deal with cropping. Just put the picture in and just like move it around to whatever you want to show inside the box. If you switch back to the black arrow, one of the most important things to do first before you switch things on the toolbar is to deselect whatever you're doing. Okay, so we deselected the picture, and then we switched to the black arrow, and this lets you move the entire box with the image inside around. Yeah, that's the difference between the black arrow selection tool and the direct selection tool. Okay, so next thing we'll talk about is the text type tool. So click that T on the toolbar there, and you can just click anywhere on the sheet and just drag out a rectangle for your text. And you'll see the flashing cursor for where your text is going to start. And you can type whatever you want. Typing. And it's pretty basic stuff. Your format, bar on top. This changes the font. You have a lot of options on top here.
Can you move the text around in the box too, or?
Essentially, a text box is going to behave just like the word itself. So this is a limitation. You can't just drag the words around, but you can customize how the text shows up in the box. Like, if you look where my cursor is pointed right now, that little icon, this lets you space the lines out.
Okay.
This lets you move the stuff around. So say I only highlighted a single letter, I can move that letter up and down. And you can do that with any of them. Another neat trick in text is you can have everything in all caps with that big T button. Or you can have everything with caps, but little caps. The difference between caps and little caps is that that everything will essentially everything will be uppercase, but the uppercase letters that you originally typed are just going to be bigger uppercase letters. It's interesting if you want to play around with it.
Did you open anything else to get that big T?
No. I just highlighted the T, I deleted it, and I retyped a new shift.
I meant on above that, on that menu, on that toolbar, or, yeah, I don't have the TT.
Really?
Maybe I do, and where would I do the T?
So you want to just click the T on this toolbar.
Oh, there we go.
And then everything should show up.
There we go. Thanks you.
It's the font stuff.
And then you can do all sorts of weird things.
With that slanted T, you can change the angle at which your letters are slanted, which is interesting because in Word you can just pick italics.
Right.
In this, you can slant it however much you want.
Oh, that's neat.
Of course, there's the superscript, subscript, underline, strike through, standard font stuff. So as I said before, the text boxes behave just like a Word document. And you can do the justification, you can line up however you want. Which is nice when you want to line up several text boxes when you're making a resume.
So how about register and type? Register and type the content.
Oh no, you have to make boxes. Because everything that they do admin is in object that's going to be boxes.
So what are the columns?
Columns are for things like if you want to move on, place it right there, it snaps to it.
Okay.
You can use bullet points.
Unless it's like,
Yeah, you can use bullet points. It's a little harder to find. You're gonna have to go to layout, type, and go to bulleted and numbered lists, and you just hit apply bullets, and the stuff should start showing you bullets. No, type, bulleted and numbered. Yeah. Customize the bullets.
I've actually never used those before. I'm sure you can though.
Or would you just go to like text and basically use the spacing stuff like we did before?
Yeah, that.
That's already ugly. Okay, so the last feature I'm thinking to talk about is the on the toolbar. Is the preview mode button. The last button, the one if you hover over says normal, looking at right now. If you click and hold it, you should get a list of different options. And this is how you see what your final product is going to look like. So you switch to preview, and this will show.
You can also just press double. Yeah, like when you hover and there's like the thing in parentheses,
Yeah.
those are all like those letters are like the shortcuts, so they're really handy to use. So you don't have to keep clicking on the toolbar.
Is there a quick way to undo anything you do?
Oh yeah, you can do
So on a Mac, you want to hit Command C. On a PC, it's just going to be Control C. walk through a sample process.
Okay, so now we're actually gonna put these in use.
That's the one. That's the,
Okay, so we're gonna make this. It's like a half done one, but you can see it's very different from one you would expect to see in Word. So it's very simple, and but there's a lot of details that we can go through that will put everything that you've just learned into practice. Okay, does anyone have any questions right now about any of the subjects we've gone through?
I have a general question.
Yeah.
If you don't have, can you get this cheaper if the student they don't see like all this stuff?
it's cheaper at the bookstore than if you buy it from a company.
But it's still hundreds. So you live on a Sum 40.
Yeah.
So in every computer lab, there's a computer that has the suite. So just yeah.
And that's pretty new, right? I mean,
Yeah,
we
it's
didn't
very
have that
new.
last year.
They actually put that in just because we were doing this program.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay. So, I'm going to start with a new document. And if I'm going too fast, please let me know. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is add information about myself, so contact information. So I'm going to click the type tool and then draw a box to where I want my information to be.
Again, it doesn't really matter where you put your box initially because you're going to drag it around. You're probably going to set up the guide anyway, so it'll snap to where you want it in the end.
Just any random information. And then when I want to move it up, I can either use the selection tool and manually drag it so it snaps, or you can just use the arrow keys on your keyboard and just move it up like this. They go in smaller increments, but they may be more exact, so just for future reference. And if you want to change the size of your font, you can do that. I think this is too small. Okay, is everyone with me? Okay, so now I'm going to create a guide. Okay, so because if you see here, I have this information all aligned to the right. So I'm going to try to make that guide so that I can align all my text to the right that way. So I'm going to go to Layout, Margins and Columns.
Guide,
Yeah, I just want to show it. So okay, so this creates like a column, but because this is purple, you can't move it anywhere, so you can't drag it. So I don't actually want that, so I'm going to do Command Z and get rid of it. So when you actually want to move your columns, you want to go into Layout and create a guide instead. And then just place it wherever you want it to be.
How'd you select both of them at the same time?
Oh, so you click one of them, and then you press Control, and then select the other.
I'm pretty sure Shift also works.
Or Shift, yeah, Shift works too. And then you wait until like the stem kind of disappears. So you see how like there's like a stem on the cursor, but when you hover over what you selected, the stem disappears. That's when you know you're actually selecting it, and then you can move it.
I got lost there.
And then
Sorry.
click that. So you know how it changes color?
Yeah.
So you click that, and then you press shift, and then you move your cursor. Oh no, so okay. So instead of like, so when you click it, so don't like hold it down. So like just shift, and then press the other one. Yeah, until it has like that black dot. And then you move it. Yeah.
Can you also just highlight it?
Yeah, you can just highlight it. Okay, so does anyone have questions about moving the guides? Okay. So another way you can select both of them is if you're on your selection tool, and if you're not selecting anything, you just kind of create like a box like this, and then it automatically selects both of them. So that's like another way. There's a lot of different ways you can do stuff on InDesign. Okay, so next I want to make the big category of academics. So I'm going to reselect my type tool, and then make some arbitrary box, and then just type in academics. Okay. So I want it aligned to the right, so I went up to the menu here, and then click that, which you guys are all familiar with because it's in Word. And because it's a larger category, I want to make it larger so people can notice it more. And then I guess I'm going to start filling in like information about academics.
I'm sorry, could you go over how you went right to justified again and show
Oh,
that
yeah,
thing in the,
So if I create a text box like randomly,
yeah.
and I type something like hello, and then all you do is you just go to below essentials.
Yes.
There's like a
Right, I see it. Thank you.
and then you just click it, and then you can snap it to wherever you want, so it ensures that it's in line. And since I want my high school to be noticed, I'm gonna bold it. That's just below, like right here, underneath the type of font. So you can bold it like that. And then I'm gonna continue typing, but I don't want it to be bolded anymore. So I'm just gonna go click that into regular. And then whatever information. And then now, since I want to type in Washington University in St. Louis for college, I'm going to go back up and press bold again because I want that is more important than the other information. And whatever information that we have. Okay, is everyone with me here?
So you can resize the boxes if you want them to fit neatly, but you can also just leave them alone because these boxes that you drew with the text tool are not going to show up in your actual final product. So you can have as many overlapping ugly boxes as you want in this normal view, but the boxes around the text are going to disappear once you're
So another way that you can actually put in text is if you click the rectangle tool and then you make some box. So say you wanted to format it before you written in anything. So like you want these two texts on top of each other. So then you can just click type tool and just click the box. thing is though that the rectangle tool, by default, they have a black border around it, which is called stroke. But you can easily take care of that. You can highlight these two boxes. And then on the right side, there's like a tab called stroke. And stroke is the border that you have around these boxes. So if you want a border, the size of these boxes actually matter. But if you don't have a stroke, which you can put weight is equal to 0, then the sizes of these boxes don't matter. So when I put the stroke as weight 0, the borders disappeared.
Can you have like text that isn't next to each other that you could, like, you know, what the hell, like, all your high school watching at the same time and both at the same time?
Yeah, you can go like,
Not all together, like, can you, like, if they weren't all together, I'm saying, like, can I highlight just the mission tandem, say, and to watch you at the same time? And then,
I think you might do it with control. I'm not sure actually. Control does something weird. I guess not then.
What is option?
It drags it around. Yeah, so I guess you'll have to just like highlight it one at a time.
There it is.
Okay. So now I'm gonna go on and put the dates on the other side of the column because employers will want to know when you were in high school. If you're confused by all the boxes, you can always go into preview to see what that looks like in the end. See, this is kind of squished up, so I'm just going to move it up a little.
Did you do that with the keys on their board?
Yeah, I just like
move
clicked
that
it
way?
and then used arrows.
Use the arrows?
Yeah. And go back. And then you can repeat the process for everything else. So now I want to make like a whole new category, maybe job experience, but I want to use the same text. I don't want to go back and resize everything. So I'm just going to click academics, and then I'm going to do Command C. And I'm going to deselect it by just clicking some random white area. And then I'm
On
going to
PC, it would just be controls.
yeah, Command or Control. And then Command V, and then it duplicates it. I'm going to put it to where I want it to be. And then I press T for the shortcut into Type Tool, where you can just click it, and then change it to job experience or work experience. Same thing with the stuff underneath. Just fill more of the information you have. And then same thing, you can add an hour date. And then if you want to look at how it looks like, you can look at see that my summer isn't quite aligned with intern. So I'm just gonna select it and then just move it until I feel like it looks right. And then you have your basic resume. So other cool things you can do with InDesign is you can add like a line if you want to differentiate the columns more. So the line tool is right below text, and you could do it however, what you want, what length you want, what angle you want. But if you want straight horizontals or verticals, you can just press Shift, and then it'll snap to vertical, 45 degrees, or horizontal. And in this case, I want horizontal. And if you want it thicker, then when you click this line, you can go up here and make it as big as you want. But I don't really like it that big, so I'm gonna go back to 1 point. So you just click it, and then that menu should show up.
And to always look, you go to that bottom icon on the left-hand side and that it and hold it down and you go preview.
Yeah,
You can also just press W and shift.
yeah. If you press W, it just like alternates between.
Oh yeah, I see that.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Oh, so you just hold Shift, and it should just snap.
That box.
What?
Yeah, that box.
Okay, so another cool thing you can do, I don't know if you're really going to use it on your resume, but if you click the pencil tool, and you just draw some random path. Okay? And then you click type tool, and you click it on the path. Wait. Okay, so when you click type, you can hold it down and then go to the slanted T on a line, which is type on a path tool. And then you click, and then you hover over what you just drew until it shows like the plus. See, there's no plus, there's a plus. Click on it, and now you can type on the curve.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, right. So, and then another thing.
Make the line go away.
Oh yeah, you can just click on like the line, I guess. So just be careful you don't click like the text box.
That's free.
Yeah, and delete. Oh, I guess you can't delete the line.
You know, mine ended up deleting. I don't know how I did it, but
You can't, if you put stroke at 0, right?
Cool. Okay, yeah. That's cool. You could, I don't know, make it a letterhead or something. But yeah. And then if you want to make like a talk box. You just type in here, hello. So if you're making like a cartoon for some reason.
It won't make the mesh just at 0.
Oh really?
Here, I'll open it correctly.
Wait, how did you start typing just inside of it?
Yeah, so like, yeah. And if you want to close like the pencil thing that you just did, so if you're like drawing like a circle, you just want to close it, you can just press Alt or Option, and then release, and then it just closes it for you. And then you can type it in.
So this is a program to buy.
Yeah, you definitely
Yeah.
can. But every computer lab has one computer that has this installed.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you know which computer has it?
It would say like the desktop when you log in, it
There's-
would say CS5.
I see.
Like on the login window, there's actually going to be a logo that says like CS5 installed or something.
Okay. So it's just called CS5 or the program?
The program is just InDesign. It's the purple box. It says ID.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of cool things. You guys can play around with it if you want. Like you can make polygons.
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Or if you want, you can create like a gradient. So if you select this, yeah, you select like all of these, you can create a gradient. I doubt you'd use it on your resume though. It makes it a little messy.
I think one of the nicest features of using InDesign over Word is, well, have you guys tried to put in an object in Word before and the pain of formatting it around the text? With InDesign, you can just drag it and put it where you want, and put it in whatever shape you want.
Yeah.
Are there color options too?
Oh yeah, so you can like, okay, so the text, you can go into color, ink, then choose it. Or okay, so if you go to color and you see this little like arrow thing, so right now it's just in grayscale. So if you click that arrow, it goes into color scale and you can change it to like blue. And if you click the whole box, you can change the background color too. But if you don't want it, you can just click that arrow, which switches it. So you can either have it, or see that little arrow, you click it, and it swaps it.
How'd you get to colors?
It's like this tab thing.
Yeah, I clicked that.
And then, so usually it would be on stroke, so you want to click on color. And then see this little arrow? So you just click it,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then you can like choose whatever color you want. And if you want the text to be a different color, then you can like highlight the whole thing. Also go to color. If you want it white, you can just do a swap thing. Or you can choose like purple. And then it used to have that weird white border, right? So if you want to get rid of that, you just highlight the text, go into stroke, and change the weight to 0. So whenever you see any kind of border, just remember that it's stroke. If you want to. Are there any other questions?
So back when you were in the color, there's different ways you can pick the color, isn't there? You can
Yeah.
do percentages in terms
Yeah.
of what's, you know,
Yep. So like you can just play around with it.
yeah, you can figure out what you,
So how do I get to colors from black and white?
You click this arrow thing right here.
That's good.
So click.
Wait, yeah.
It works.
Yes, it's pretty tiny, so you have to be very patient if it's a click. Oh, and also, okay, so let's make 2 boxes, like black, I guess, or blue. So notice if you move this here, it blocks the others. So maybe you want the black box in front. So how you do that is you right click it, control click on here if you don't have like a double click mouse, and then you just go to arrange, and then you can do send to back, and then it goes behind the object. But if you want it forward again, you just go control click, which is same as right click, arrange, and then you can bring to front or just bring forward. So when you're dealing with a lot of images and you want one to be on top of the other, then you can just do that. So you end up with something like this, if you have all the colors done.
Would you say that besides resumes, because there's so many boxes and columns, that newsletters and brochures get, use this program for
I think a
creation?
lot of, I know newspapers use InDesign, yeah, and Yearbook uses InDesign, and I know a lot of people, but it could be because I'm in architecture, who uses InDesign to make flyers or T-shirts. So,
T-shirts?
like if they're like designing, like organizing. So, but it'd be a great way to organize like newspapers and brochures or handouts. Yeah, so you guys can just play around with it, and then if you guys have any questions, we're gonna be here for like another half an hour to answer any of your questions.